Yeah, I know. I almost did that earlier today.
Hey there, Alan here, RVacrossamerica.net, and this post is going to be at rvacrossamerica.net/Bryce, Bryce. We'll be covering Bryce Canyon National Park, and this is going to be reflecting upon Isaac's and my trip to Bryce Canyon back in late February. It's hard to believe it's already been about 7 weeks. I'm coming to you this morning from Murtaugh Lake, Idaho. Let me kind of pan over. You see, I've got basically waterfront site. This is Murtaugh Lake. The weather here is less than optimal, but I did manage to get out and do some paddling yesterday in a kayak on the lake. And I've moved on, if you followed my most recent post, from Emmett, Idaho. And that's because I spent about a little over a week there. I did meet with the hernia doctor to surgeon and got answers that led me to say, you know what, I'd be better off doing this in Vernal, Utah, which is the surgeon that originally did the CT scan almost 2 years ago. So I'm heading towards Vernal, and I expect to be there in about a month. I'm taking my time getting there. That's when he can get me in, and I really plan to enjoy the next few weeks traveling through southern Idaho and then eventually down into northeastern Utah. While I remember, please leave a like, a share, a comment. I try to make these posts enjoyable, fun, practical. There's a lot of information in here about Bryce, and there's going to be another video below it on the post. Again, the post is at rvacrossamerica.net/Bryce. The panoramas were taken by myself and by Isaac. In fact, the two at the end of this video are by Isaac, and I'd love your feedback as to leave a comment either on my post or on the YouTube or on the video you're seeing this on. It may or may not be YouTube, but I'd like your opinion. Do you think Isaac has a good eye? I think he does. I think he's captured a interesting essence of the park in his panoramas of winter in the park. The first panorama that you saw from me just before was Queen's Garden, a hike, and the second panorama was the Mossy Cave area. And Isaac has two at the end from the Mossy Cave area, but a unique aspect of it, a unique, he's got a unique eye. I think so, but you tell me. Maybe I'm biased. Anyway, what follows after me on this particular video is our drive from Zion to Bryce. You know, Utah is home to 5 national parks, and we actually went through 4 of them over a course of a couple of months. Um, the first two, Zion and Bryce, are right next to each other, and the drive is less than 2 hours from Zion to Bryce. And I take you up US 89 and show you some of the RV parks that are along that stretch and other RV parks that are in towards the Route 12, and then eventually the final stretch in to Bryce Canyon National Park. The entire rest of this video is narrated, showing you where we are and what we're doing, and even a couple of really good places to eat along that stretch, should you wish to do that. The stretch that we started at was the Zion to Mount Carmel Junction Road, or highway, I think they call it. It's not really a highway; it's one lane each way, but it's accessible if you go through Zion, but you'd better check the rules and regulations going through Zion if you're driving an RV of any significant size, because there are limits to it, and those limits are going to become more restrictive as they begin, I believe, construction and restoration in about a year. I'm recording this in the middle of 2025. If you're seeing this in 2026, that's definitely when you got to pay attention. But even in 2025, I mean, I'm pulling a 35-foot fifth wheel. We traveled without the fifth wheel because I stayed in Parowan, and I explained in the post where and why. But so I wasn't pulling my camper going through this area. But had I been pulling the camper, I don't think I would have used the Zion to Mount Carmel Junction road. There are ways around that. But we did. We just had the truck. We just had the vehicle. If you have a smaller RV, you're fine. And we did start this particular video at Mount Carmel Junction at the Thunderbird restaurant and RV parks. And you'll see what those are in the video coming up in a moment. We drove up. I take you right to the entrance of Bryce Canyon National Park and explain where we stayed because we did motel it for a couple of nights when we were up in that area, and we stayed probably about a mile and a half away from the entrance to Bryce Canyon National Park. Anyway, that's it for the moment. Again, the post is at rvacrossAmerica.net/Bryce. What's coming up is our drive, is the RV parks along the way. By the way, there's some spectacular areas that we drove through. So there's great scenery to be seen in this video that follows and continues actually from where I'll leave off. And again, please like, comment, subscribe. You know all the right stuff to do. It helps with what's called the algorithm, and it brings this out to more people so that more people will become aware of the content I'm bringing in. And please leave me feedback if you feel that the content is valuable, useful, helpful, entertaining, annoying. I don't know. You tell me. That'll do it for the moment. Continue on with the travel. And again, Isaac's panoramas are right at the end. Oh, and in the post itself, again, at rvcrossAmerica.net/Bryce, you'll find that there are slideshows. There were literally hundreds of photos that I took and that Isaac took, and I've highlighted both of our sets of photos in there in multiple slideshows. And again, I'd love your feedback on that. There is a section at the bottom of the post where you can leave comments, thoughts, feedback, whatever, or of course you can do that underneath this video. So thank you. Continue on, stay with me, and we're moving right along to more great stuff within this video. Take care. Pretty cool panorama shot, wasn't that? That was from one of the pullouts along Scenic Drive, and you saw Isaac at the end of it doing his own shots and video. You're looking here in Mount Carmel Junction. We're just pulling out of the Thunderbird, great restaurant. And along the right-hand side here and just a little bit north is the Thunderbirds East RV Park and North RV Park. There are two RV parks in the area. My preference is still Painted Hills over in Parowan, and you can learn more about that through a link through the post. So go over to the post to get more information on that. But there are RV parks in the area. Mount Carmel Junction is about 15 miles or so east of the East Gate for Zion. And again, read my advisory about traveling through Zion with an RV, especially that area along the Mount Carmel Junction. You're now at US 89 Glendale along the right-hand side. Just passing it now is Mongolian barbecue. And I've got a good story in the post about Isaac and his um, ability to eat tons of food. We're up in Hatch now. We're kind of jumping along. Hatch is just home to the Riverside Ranch RV Resort. Again, Painted Hills was my choice, but if you want to stay in this area, this is about a 45-minute stretch between Mount Carmel Junction and the turnoff on Route 12, which we're coming up on now. We're about to turn off onto Route 12. We're in Red Canyon. There's something called the Red Canyon RV Park. We're only about 20 minutes away from Bryce itself. You're in the area, not far away from Bryce. So if you want to stay between these two really majestic national parks, it's pretty good, convenient location. And you can see there are several RV parks. They're all very easy in and out. You can do your research using Allstays or campgroundreviews.com. Again, I've got links for those in the post, so you can go check that out. We're now turning from northbound 89 to eastbound Route 12, and you'll see the Red Canyon RV Park on your left-hand side in a moment. And again, you're not seeing the entire drive from Mount Carmel Junction. We're kind of jumping, hopping, and skipping along so you can kind of get a feel of what's where as we go along. There are roadside food joints here as we get closer and closer to Bryce. You'll see that they're closed for the off season. I understand that they are pretty pricey when they are open, but that's the nature of being in a touristy type area. And of course, these RV parks are not going to be inexpensive. The Red Canyon RV Park, RV Resort is coming up on the left-hand side. That'll be there in a moment. And then before you know it, we're going to be over in Bryce Canyon City. We're going to make that shift in just a moment. You'll see the Red Canyon RV Park. We're probably at this point only about 12 to 15 minutes away from Bryce Canyon National Park's entrance. And in order to get there, we go through what is referred to as Bryce Canyon City, which we've now shifted gears and we're approaching. Actually, I'm wrong. This is Red Canyon, Utah. It's a unincorporated area. It is absolutely gorgeous. This looks a lot like Bryce. When you get to this stretch of the road, you've got a lot of the red rock. You've got some arches coming up that actually cover the highway. So it's just really cool. And, both Isaac and I were really amazed by some of the stuff that we saw. And it was just a real friendship bonding thing for he and I. We've become lifelong friends. This was our first of what turned out to be 3 trips that required overnights in motels, or one in my camper. Once I had relocated over into Nevada. You're now coming up on those arches. Really impressive. And yes, they're big enough to get an RV through. The only RV challenge would be that stretch into Mount Carmel Junction from Zion. And that's where, if you are traveling in a larger RV, I would encourage you to check with Zion's website and make sure that you fit within the requirements of what they need you to fit within in order to travel that road. If not, there are alternates, and you'll still end up going through Mount Carmel Junction, and you can still hit the Mongolian barbecue. So we're now entering Bryce Canyon City. We've kind of hop, skipped, and jumped a little bit, about 10 minutes up the road. Bryce Canyon City is not much. There's a big motel and inn on the left. There's the Ruby's Inn on the right. Ruby's really owns the entire town, if you will. There's a diner on your right here, which is kind of fast food. We didn't do that. There is Ruby's Inn right here, which we did stay at. And the off-season rate was great. The in-season rate is probably 4 times higher. In fact, I'm sure it is. There's a restaurant in there that's got all-you-can-eat breakfast and has an upscale dinner. That's again another story from the post that Isaac can eat. I can eat too. I mean, I've developed an appetite, and pretty healthy one, even for my age. So Ruby's also has an RV park, and the RV park, we're going to see that in a moment. We're going to kind of skip back here, and we're taking a look at what I call Ruby's Campus. It's a series of buildings, each of which are motel buildings. There's a hot tub and a pool off to the right that you can't see. They're indoors. They were great, and they're open to all the motel guests, and I think they're open up to the RV guests. You can see the RV park in the distance there, and this was in February, so yes, it's open year-round, clearly. Again, great place. Now we're coming up on the entry gate to the park. And you'll notice when we get to the entry gate, this was like a midday, early afternoon entry and no wait. Well, and of course, it was late February, so you won't find that if you try doing this in June or July. What comes up next are Isaac's panoramas, and they capture winter, so I'm going to shut up and let you just enjoy those. Hey, thanks for watching.